In this series of videos, we will be reviewing features of the KR-800 autorefractors, which include the KR-800, the KR-800PA, and the KR-800S. Each of these models are operated in a similar way, but some of the models will provide different features than the others. In this video, we will be discussing the settings options for the KR-800PA. Settings for the KR-800 and KR-800S will be covered in separate videos. To access the settings menu, select the wrench icon at the upper right of the screen. This will reveal a new window with a series of tabs on the left. The initial tab contains several pages of settings. Different pages can be accessed with these arrows at the top. Your user manual will go into greater detail about the purpose of each setting. However, we will cover some of the more commonly used settings. Of these settings on page 1, these will likely be of the most interest. Start mode, which determines whether patient tests will begin as automatic, semi-automatic, or manual mode. Auto print, which determines whether the device will automatically print data after both eyes have been measured or whether the operator will need to manually select the print icon. Patient number reset, which determines whether the device will have all patient ID numbers be the same or if it'll provide a new number for each patient. It's highly recommended to have this off, especially if the device is connected to a CV5000 digital 4-opter, so that each patient will have their own number on the printout and export to prevent confusion over which results belong to which patient. Number of auto shoot, which determines how many measurements are required of each eye. The usual number is 3. Fog timing, which determines how often the patient will have their vision fogged to help prevent the autorefraction from being over-minused. The options are once before the first measurement of each eye or once before every measurement. Date and time, which allows you to set the current date and time. Diopter or millimeter, which determines the units of keratometry. Cylinder sign, which determines whether the autorefraction results will be displayed in plus or minus cylinder. Measurement mode, which determines whether the device will default to capturing both an autorefraction and keratometry, or just one or the other for each new patient. Center and peripheral, which determines whether the keratometry measurement will default to central cornea or peripheral cornea for each new patient. Typically, this is set to central. RK or mapping, which determines whether or not the default is to include corneal mapping with each test. Mapping scale, which determines the default colored step size scale, the standardized absolute scale, a normalized scale customized for each eye, or a customizable adjustable scale. The print tab contains options involving what will appear on the printout. If you click common, it'll take you to the date and the patient ID, which we recommend to have on. The communication tab contains options involving exporting data through a round 9-pin cable. Depending on the device the KR-800 is exporting to, these settings will vary. Please contact Topcon tech support if this type of export is needed. The LAN, or Local Area Network tab, contains options involving exporting data through an Ethernet cable. These settings include whether the IP address will be automatically or manually assigned, and options to manually set the IP address, subnet mask, and default gateway. Please have your IT department contact Topcon tech support as needed. Thank you for watching. For more information, please go to topconhealthcare.com.